Hello, welcome to the Konnekt-000-7 experience. Here, we come to the podcast where human connection is everything. If you're trying to connect better with those around you, you're in the right spot. So please, sit back, relax, open your mind, and enjoy the experience. What is up, everybody? I am the host of this amazing podcast. My name is Thaddeus Sims, and today is our 90th episode titled Disagreements. And I'm very curious about how you all handle disagreements, especially when it comes to communicating with our fellow people, right? Now, before we go into this episode, let us dive into a few things. First, no announcement. And second, we're going to dive into this fun fact because this is going to be interesting. And this is actually going to be towards LA, which, by the way, California, I must say, you guys literally are like the second in the country of the United States. You guys are the second in the country to literally be repping the podcast. So like, shout out to you all. And speaking of California, this fun fact is specifically about a particular city out here. I didn't know this, and apparently cities have whole names out here, and this is just making me think. I wonder if my city has a whole name like you guys do. So Los Angeles. Apparently Los Angeles has a whole full name out here, like a whole government name and all. And I'm just like, what? So let's get into this. And I'm so sorry, my Spanish is not great, but here we go. Los Angeles full name is El Pueblo. I'm sorry, guys. El Pueblo. I can do better. El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Angeles de Porciúncula. There we go. Oh, try that again. El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Angeles de Porciúncula. I totally butchered that, but I tried. I really did. And that means the original name was so the original name was quite a mouthful. It translates to Town of Our Lady, the Queen of Angels of the River Porciúncula. Now, Los Angeles is just the angels. And I'm just like, okay, wow, really imagine that. Like, okay, I'm going to do my best here again. They're going to do a third round. You guys are probably laughing at me, but let me see about this. Where are you going to go? Oh, well, I was thinking I may go out to, El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Angeles de Porciúncula over there, not LA. We're not going to do LA. It's just, I don't know, like, gosh, that is a mouthful. So thank you for whoever just said, you know what? We just gonna call us the Angels, and we gonna keep it moving. That was the most interesting fun fact for me right there. I wonder if Palm Beach, Florida has like a whole name, like something like that. Like, that'd be very interesting. I wonder what our full name would be, like Palm Beaches of the sunny South state of I don't even know. That'd just be interesting. Okay, so let's get into this episode. All right, let's go into this. So we're going to talk about disagreements for a second. Now, I'm very curious. How do you all handle disagreements? Let us take a second. How do you handle disagreements? And do you learn from them? Or do you get defensive and or closed-minded? These are very interesting things because I have come across a lot of my people that I associate with and a lot of my friends, and disagreements is it's not a big thing, but it's like a big thing. It's weird. It's not a big thing, but it's a big thing in the sense of disagreements, how people handle them. It shows a lot about them. And I'm very curious how you all handle it. I know for me, I obviously everybody, I kind of like it when people agree with me, but when people don't agree with me, I learn from it. So I think for me, what I have to do is like, when I know when someone says I disagree, I don't get like emotional in a sense, or I don't like get like hurt, or I don't know. Cause I think for me and what I've learned with other people is that some people take it as when someone disagrees with them is saying like, I disagree, just like I'm hurting your feelings. I disagree with everything that everything that makes you, right? Like, I feel like some people take it really, really deep and personal. There we go. That was so long. People take it personal, like really personal. And some people get very heated when people disagree with them. And I'm just very curious, like, again, how do you all handle it? So I know I have to, and it's weird, but I always have to like take a seat within myself when a person disagrees with me, and I seek to understand their point fully. And the biggest thing with that is I don't hear them just to respond and like prove my point. What I really do is I just like really just stop, seek understanding of where they're coming from, their perspective with it. And I like to ask questions along with it instead of saying, oh no, you're just wrong. And even if I feel that they're wrong and there may be facts that they're wrong, which this is not throwing shade at all or anything, like for real. Even if there are facts and they really wholeheartedly believe that they're right, I just leave it to them, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you, but if you disagree on that and that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. And so I'm just very curious how you all take this. And do you actually learn from it? Because sometimes when people disagree with me, I really get a chance to understand them more and on a deeper level, and seeing their thought processes with things. Because I don't know if this will help you, but I just have this setting in my mind that everybody has different backgrounds, upbringings, different experiences, and just have learned, on a different level on different things. And so all of that combination is what that person experiences or perceives to be, true or false. And it's just an opportunity. But like when you understand that, I feel like that helps you to really just understand the individual. So now, where did this even come from, right? Now, I didn't even ask him if I can talk about this, but I'm doing it anyways. So me and a good friend, we just finished talking like hours ago. And the conversation was on the topic of like, the question started from, where do you see like humanity, the human race, heading to collectively? Like, what do you think is going to happen, like to the human beings, like collectively? And my thought, and you guys obviously don't have to agree, because, everybody sees things differently, and that's okay. So I was saying, for me, I was like, I see humanity going in two ways. I was like, looking at it now, I'm like, number one, if we don't come together and like, no, I said number one, sorry. Yeah. If we don't come together and actually like do something, we're going to end up destroying ourselves and the planet. That is one way. I said the second way is that when things get like critical, which they actually already are in the sense of like, the stuff that's going on with the planet and all types of things. We're not going to go into there because that's not, that's not this episode for that. But, where everything is going and things are kind of getting critical and it's affecting the environment and stuff like that. I was like, when it gets to a point, I feel as though at some point humans are like, we're going to come together and be like, okay, hey, besides our differences, we really need to come together and do something, because this is not going to affect us, just like us over here, but this is going to affect the whole entire planet unless we do something different. And I was saying, for me, I just have a lot of hope in humanity, because I just feel like we're just getting there. And he was like, okay, I see where you're coming from, but he was like, I disagree. He was like, I just see the way, people are going and stuff like that, that there is just gonna, basically it's just gonna go south. And it's just there may not be no comeback, because he's, what he was saying. And he backed it up, with some proof and things like that. And he was like, there's just some pretty messed up people out here. And he literally, and please guys, don't be like, oh no, he's seeing it wrong. He literally is a very intelligent guy, and he had some facts with things based off of his experience and other stuff that we could all see that he backed up. And so he was just, his thing was just like, there's some pretty corrupt people. Like, look at the planet now. Like, why are we having issues now? He was like, most people in the world aren't really focused on these things. Why is it that we have all this technology with, phones and, other little stuff, like just this random tech, but we're not focused on creating technology to help clean the different things out in the ocean and stuff like that, right? Like, just helping the planet overall. I'm just really trying to sum this up. And we had that talk, and we were disagreeing with each other, but it wasn't a heated argument. It was more of like, okay, I'm hearing what you're saying and I'm getting it. And he heard what I was saying and he was getting it. We didn't talk over each other. There was no yelling or anything like that. And so then he asked me, okay, well, he was like, okay, well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go talk to, we were talking about people. And, before I go there, I was like, I feel as though there's hope. And the things that I was backing up with that, I was like, I feel like there's hope, because he was saying, there's a lot of messed up people. And I was like, well, dude, I feel like there's hope, because do you think that people can change? And I asked him that because I was like, the things he was saying about people being mean and messed up, I was like, I was one of those people. If you were to talk to me about 10 years ago, I was one of those people that you were describing. And he was like, nuh-uh, got to drink some water here. He was like, nuh-uh. He was like, I'm pretty sure you would help a person out, or if you've seen a lady at the door or whatnot, you would have helped her and this, that, and the other. And I was making faces like, ooh, I'm like, I'm really glad you think highly of me at that time. But no, I was not. He just looked at me like, are you serious? I was like, bro. He was like, you were heartless. I'm like, bro, that was my nickname. I didn't care for people like that. If I was cool with you, I was cool with you. But I was like, oh, there's a lady struggling over there to get the door. Oh, sucks for her. And keep it moving. I was on my phone. I was like, bro, there was somebody who literally got I think a person got hurt or something in front of me, and I think I literally had to walk over their body. They weren't dead or nothing like that, but I had places to go, and I wasn't on that wave. I'm like, ooh, he wants me to, I'm like, this is important. They're actually going to get the police involved, but I got to go this way, and they won't let me cross the street, so I'm going to have to walk over his body. Again, the guy's alive. He's not dead. He was alive and breathing. He just got hurt. He got hit with something, we'll say. But I just had to walk over and keep it moving, because I'm like, yeah, this requires attention, time, care, and I don't have neither of that right now, so I had to go. And he just looked at me. I was like, yeah, man, I was pretty heartless. So I was like, but I changed. So the people that you were describing, I feel like if you just had people in a positive environment and people who actually cared, showed compassion, and helped them, like people who did for me, they could change. And then I said, also, I don't know about you, but I don't know, do you pay attention to the kids growing up nowadays? I'm like, there's so many things, if you pay attention, these kids that are coming into the world now, these kids are on a whole different level. They're intuitive already. They are making very interesting decisions. Not even that, but it's starting to be common that these young generations, these kids that are less than 12, or let me make sure. Yeah, like less than 12 to 15 years old are like in high school or in taking college courses. And most of their things is focused on creating like, better sustainability for the planet and all that. I'm noticing that this is a very common thing. And he was like, I hear you, with the people and stuff like that. But he was like, you can't say that there isn't like any bad people. I was like, you're right. I'm like, I'm not saying at all. There are some pretty messed up people out here. Don't get me wrong. There are some pretty messed up people. But he was like, so I'm curious, why is it that the bad stuff travel? He said something like, would you agree that the bad news travels faster than good news? And I said, that's kind of hard. I was saying, because I believe bad news can be a little bit more entertaining and people take it. But I said, I can't say that all the way, because to answer that question for me, I would say it really depends. The good and the bad really depends on the group of people you're with. Not one person, not two people, but a group of people that you are with. And he was like, okay, he was like, you're right. I could see that. I was like, because at a period of time when I was learning about business, I was like literally in two different worlds. On one side of the world, I was constantly surrounded by positivity, success. Like literally, when I say bombarded, like I'm using it as a strong word in a good way, but I was bombarded with literally positivity. Literally, there's news that's happening over in Africa. People are actually thriving over there in Africa, and not like just some people who moved over there, like actual people, or cities are being all this positive stuff. Like I didn't even know there was a positive news network where instead of watching negative news, you can listen and learn positive news. So I was surrounded by people these were like millionaires, some people who were just like regular people who were like actually building things to help other people and the planet. And then I was like, on the flip side, on the other world, you hear, oh my gosh, this stuff is happening. Oh my God, that stuff is happening. And this, that, and the other. And I was like, I really feel like it depends on the group of people you are with when it comes to good and bad. But yes, there are people who are corrupted and some people you just can't save. But I was like, I feel like there's hope for the planet. And he was like, I'm still saying that, nah, but there is a possibility. There is a possibility for, things to change and stuff like that. And so I say this whole conversation, guys, to really ask you, how is it, I'm going to say it again, how is it that you handle when people disagree with you? And me and his conversation, though, we had a variety of conversations in between that. I was just hitting like some main points with that. But what we did was we literally just listened to each other's point of view. And I understood where he was coming from with the facts that he brought, with the experiences that he's had, his mindset and different things. And I was able to learn something from what he was talking about with just how the world is. Like I didn't really I never really thought of how there's much more of a focus on, technology, like in our phone, with our phones, computers, these different things, but you at the same time don't really hear too many technology growth. I'm saying it's so weird. Technological growth amongst like the planet and stuff like that. Though at the same time, guys, I'm all about, if you're surrounded by people who talk about that, you will see all of that everywhere, if you're in that world of things. So let me say that. But I learned that, as well. And we were just talking about the overall consciousness of the planet and just all types of different things. So because of that conversation, I learned so much from his point of view and vice versa. There was things he learned from my point of view as well. And now that was a good example. There are times where, I don't know about you guys, but when someone is trying to talk with you and you're like, well, I disagree because so and so and so, and they get really defensive and they get really argue, like they just start getting really nasty, and it's like, okay, cool, you right, okay, yeah, you right, and you just say that just to shut them up. Yeah, those are people who are just on a whole different level. I have one friend who just says, yeah, those are people who just their maturity level isn't there. They can't have adult conversations. If you can't have a conversation where somebody disagrees with you and you either get really angry and you don't want to talk with them no more, or this, that, and the other, or you start to get an attitude or stank with them, as they say, then you're a child. Like, you need to grow up. And so I wonder if you guys agree with that. Like, do you feel that way as well? But I'm gonna add in this too, is I feel as though there's a bit of class that you need to have when it comes to disagreement. If you listen to the last episode, I believe I said it's all about how you say things. And I feel as though the way you say that you disagree with someone makes a difference. And how me and my friend said, we listened to each other and he was like, I see this, but he's like, as your best friend, I'm going to have to say I kind of disagree on this one point here. And he explained versus someone who's like, yeah, nah, that's BS. I don't believe that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you don't have to attack the person, right? Like, you can just say I disagree on this, but certain times you say certain things and it can really, it can make the conversation go very south. So if you're one of those people who attack the person and you may think you're just kidding or whatever, like, nah, bro, that's stupid. That right there is like, that's not a good thing, because now you're attacking the person's intelligence, or saying like, nah, I don't believe in that. That's crazy. Again, now you're attacking the person in a way and saying that whatever they're presenting to you, they must be crazy. So words are very powerful. So I feel like there's a class that you have to have when it comes to disagreements. Now, don't get me wrong, not saying that you're not to be having no emotions or anything like that, but definitely have the emotions in there. But again, I feel as though it's all about how you say it to people. And again, if you haven't listened to the last episode, please do not confuse communication of how you say things with sugarcoating, because there's a big difference in there. And when people say, oh, I'm just being blunt, this is just how I am, that means that person really just haven't developed the communication skills to talk with you. That's just an excuse. You can disagree with me on that, and that's okay. That's fine. You have your opinions and I have mine. Now, again, I'm going to ask you guys, do you learn from your disagreements, or do you just get heated and just not talk to that person for a few days because they made you feel some type of way? And then you get defensive and stuff like that? And if so, might want to work on that. I would recommend, though, if you are, I'm not going to leave you guys with just work on that. If you are that type of person and you get defensive, and are closed-minded, really just ask yourself, why is that? Why do you get a bit defensive? Like, are you not wanting to learn something new? Do you feel like the person may have attacked your character or anything like that? Really take a look into that. And also just focus on listening to the individual to see where they're coming from. So seek understanding before you seek to be understood, right? So seek that first, and you may really learn something about it and understand that the person's not attacking you. So that is really what I wanted to bring to your attention, guys. And I would like to thank my great friend for bringing this up. So that is something for you all to mold your minds over, and for you all to be aware of when you're having your next little chit chat with your friend. Now, so that was it for this part of the podcast. I know, short, right? Like, I gave you guys like a whole hour podcast yesterday, but I got to switch it up with you guys. I don't want to keep you, like, oh, this is going to be a whole another like hour plus. I got to switch it up. Give you, some deep things here and there, go in some details, and then give you a little something, short and sweet, right? This is enough to get you to work. Okay. So that was it on that part of the podcast. Let us actually get into the health is wealth segment. And if you are new to the podcast, I must say the health is wealth is all about you learning new things that will increase your health, because this is a podcast that's all about human connections. We need to add in the bonus of you increasing your health, because when you're healthy, you feel better, you do better, you like people a little bit more, or you're a little bit more tolerant of people, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. So just helping you out here. And also, again, guys, if you are new and also if you have been listening for a while and if you've been listening for a while, please click that subscribe button on the podcast. It definitely helps me out to reach out to more people. And it would be really, really awesome if you guys can help spread the message of Konnekt-000-7 to the people. So I really appreciate you. And we're going to hop into this health as well. So this one is actually pretty interesting. And this may sound very weird to you guys, but I'm going to actually go through it with you all a bit. And if you haven't done this, it's actually really cool. So this health is wealth is on sensory deprivation tank. So some of you guys are like, what? A sensory deprivation? That sounds like that's going against my health, Dad. What are you talking about? It's actually another word for an isolation tank. And you're like, oh no, see that you losing me even more. Isolation. That sounds like restrictions. That sounds like I'm being closed off. That just doesn't sound healthy. Like, what do you mean? But I got you. So what is a sensory deprivation tank or an isolation tank? There's a few different names for it. So you probably heard of it. The other one is a flotation tank. So that's a little bit better, right? That's a little bit more positive. Like a flotation tank. Like, oh, okay, you should have said that first and I would have been good, but I got you. But okay, so what is it, right? It's used for restricted environmental stimulation therapy, or REST. It is a dark, soundproof tank that is filled with a foot or less of salt water. And the first tank was designed in 1954 by John C. Lilly, an American physician and neuroscientist. He designed the tank to study the origins of consciousness by cutting off all external stimuli. Okay, so what that means is you're going to go in this tank and they're going to close it. You can get out. You're not locked in there. You close it yourself. You can get out. You're fine. So you're not stuck in there, and you actually have room. So don't think you can't really move because you're floating. So you're really fine. Now, let us actually talk about this a little bit more. This water in the sensory deprivation tank is heated to skin temperature and nearly saturated with Epsom salt or magnesium sulfate, providing buoyancy so you can float more easily. You enter the tank nude and are cut off from all outside stimuli, including sound, sight, and gravity when the tank's lid or door is closed. As you float weightless in the silence and darkness, the brain is supposed to enter into a deeply relaxed state. And sensory deprivation tank therapy is said to produce several effects on the brain, ranging from hallucinations to enhanced creativity. Now, I'm going to tell you guys I've done this, so I'm not just telling you to do something that I haven't done, but I have done this and it actually is pretty cool. I will say, yeah, you get in the tank naked. It's not like cold or anything like that. It is at skin temperature, so you just get right in there. The only thing that I will give you a heads up on is make sure you don't you don't rub your eye. So if you're a person who habitually, who rubs their eye, habitually, just be careful of that, because salt eye is not cute and you don't want to be trying to float while your eyes are burning. So just be aware of that little tidbit. But they normally give you like this little, it's like a little spray bottle of some sort or a squirt bottle that you can just squirt around your eyes just in case you feel like, you need to do something there. So they give you that, and, it's not salt water or whatever, and it helps you. So that's the only little bit of information I can tell you. I think some people wear goggles. I wouldn't do that because you're going to feel that. So just go in there, with your birthday suit and you're fine. But that's what I did, and it was actually pretty cool. And you definitely do get in a very deep state of relaxation. Most of the times, I think the starting point is like an hour, and some people can be in there for, I think, a little bit more, 2 hours. Depends on, what you're doing. So let's actually talk about the benefits of this flotation tank. So there are several psychological and medical benefits of a sensory deprivation tank on conditions such as anxiety disorders, stress, and chronic pain. Also, inducing a clear and empty state of mind, improving focus and concentration, and promoting an overall state of relaxation. Sensory deprivation tanks are also known to promote muscle relaxation, again, lower anxiety, and improve depression. And other benefits include improving sleep patterns, decreasing pain, and improving a sense of well-being. And I will say, when I went in there, I meditate on a regular, so it was just easy for me to just go in a very meditative state. I will say what has definitely been pretty true is just that clear and empty state of mind. So if you're someone who is constantly thinking, or you're constantly busy with work, or you are looking just for a little bit of peace in your life, you know what I mean? Or just to get away, it's really, really good, especially because I would say if you're a little bit kind of on the fence about the sensory deprivation tank, like, it's, cutting off my senses, I will say it'll be very, very good for you, especially in this world with all of us being on our phones, the computers, swiping and stuff like that. We're constantly surrounded by technology, and we're just constantly just getting information like it's nothing. So to be able to go in a tank to really just take like all of that away and just be there is very relaxing. It's almost very rejuvenating. I would say it's like an internal rejuvenation, if anything. So I will say it's really good. I've been in there and it was really nice. Just floated around, just relax. I do believe some flotation tanks, they'll give you like some music to listen to. Nothing crazy, but something like calming and therapeutic. And it is actually just really nice, and you just float, and you might actually fall asleep. I did that one time. I meditated, and I was out. Like, I slept in there. I never slept floating in water, but you may just do that, and it's really, really nice. Again, just be careful with your eyes. And I know most flotation tanks, like the places you go, you're able to take a shower like right after us to wash all that salt out. So guys, that is the Health is Wealth segment of the podcast. And look for a flotation tank near you. They're actually like pretty everywhere nowadays. So definitely, guys, check that out. Let me know if you have done that, and if there are any topics relating to connecting with your fellow human beings. Or I was thinking, guys, about doing like some type of like advice segment where you all would be able to like maybe ask a question or something, or maybe want some advice on something relating to like communication, people, or anything that you feel like the podcast part can help you out with. I was thinking of doing that. And if you are interested in that, either just like email me or just comment anything. You have my contact information right in the description of the podcast, and just say, hey, add the advice, segment. And if I have enough people that, enough demand for it, then I will definitely add that and create a way for everybody to do that. Cause that'd be pretty cool as well. Like, you all listen to the podcast, and to be able to just serve you all in a better way of just maybe answering some questions you feel that I can definitely help you out with, definitely bring it up. And if I have enough demand for it, let us do that. And also, I am working on adding some different changes to the podcast and adding more stuff just for Konnekt-000-7 as a whole. So there are new things that will begin, and they are in the works. As I'm talking to you all, I'm like looking at some of the things that's planned out. So I'm very excited to actually get these things up and running and sharing it with you all. I feel like it will definitely be beneficial, and it will serve so many people. So I am excited about that, and I really can't wait to share that with you all. So with that being said, everybody, that is it. I hope you are having a fantastic Friday, and I will be speaking with you all very soon. Later. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please leave a 5-star rating and share with a friend near you. Remember, the world's a better place because you exist. Know your worth and know thyself.